Hi, welcome back everybody, it's Mike Newton down here at Lytham Golf Academy. New product to review for you, and it's the Callaway Epic Forged Iron, and you're in for a treat with this particular iron. So brand new offering from Callaway. It looks very shiny, it looks very expensive, and it looks like it's packed with loads of technology, and there's some very interesting lofts to look at, which we're going to take a look at in this video, hit it, give you some ideas of which golfer this is really going to be aimed at. GC code on the floor as always, so I'm going to give you some data and my honest opinion of what this iron is like performance wise, but also who it's suited to. So Epic Forged, we've seen the Epic Iron before from Callaway, we've now got the Epic Forged. So we know this is going to be premium, and it is what Callaway is saying is very ultra premium forged performance. So I'm going to read this from the Callaway website. I just want you to get your head around this to start with. So the Epic Forged irons are an ultra premium, stunningly beautiful iron developed from precision engineering and meticulous craftsmanship for incredible forged performance. If you can get as many descriptive words into a sentence, then that is basically it. So we know this is going to be expensive. I think these are around sort of £2,000 for a set of irons, around that sort of mark. So they are obviously in that very premium category. Quite a bit of tech to talk about, some different ideas with the shafts, but let's get one hit to start with. So I've got a 7-iron in my hands, and believe it or not, I have set myself out 200 yards from the green, so you're going to get an idea of what to expect. And I've hit a few with this already, and that's why I've got it set at 200 yards. Let's get this first one hit. It's just a rocket. It just flies off that club face. It feels quite nice, to be fair, and that's flown all the way on the green. What's that carried there? It's probably carried about 200 yards, about one, maybe just short of that. Yeah, 197 carry. Okay, so clearly we've got some lofts to talk about here. So, as I say, this is a 7-iron. It is 27 degrees of loft, so it's pretty much like my 5-iron, basically, my Wilson staff irons. And the next thing to get your head around is the length of it. The length of it is basically my 5-iron length. So I'm ½ inch longer as standard in my steel shafts. This shaft I put in is a fitting iron, so the fitting shaft here is ½ inch longer. So it's comparable. So when I put that against my 5-iron, it is exactly the same length. So it is ridiculously long in the shaft length, and it's 27 degrees. So we know this is built now all about speed. Obviously, shaft length trying to generate as much speed as possible, club head speed, and then the loft is obviously trying to work into ball speed, and then obviously whatever's happening in the club face, which we're going to come to and talk about. Okay, let's just get another ball hit first, and we'll talk a little bit about the tech in the club. To be fair, looking at the golf club, it's a nice looking iron. It's a decent shape, clearly got a thick top edge. There's a bit of offset there. It's a very confident, inspiring head shape behind the golf ball, so you know it's packed with a bit of forgiveness, but it's a nice quality finish to it. It's a nice shaping. Oh, that's a little bit bottom. It's hilarious. That's just flown off the club face. And that wasn't the greatest of strikes. That was a little bit low in the face, and that's still carried all the way up there, probably around that 195 area. So clearly some serious forgiveness about here. So let's talk a little bit about the head. So Epic Forged, we've got a forged head, so we know that's going to be a little bit more premium in terms of a price tag. We've got the normal Cup 360 technology that Callaway have done for many years now, most of the irons. So we're seeing that again. That's all about creating ball speed, or keeping ball speed up across the entire club face there. And then we've got this suspended tungsten weighting. So really what this sort of saying here, this tungsten weight is precisionally positioned to really get a precise CG location, and it's sort of suspended in some urethane microspheres, they call it. So basically they can get it as accurate as they can in terms of that location, that CG, and that happens in every single iron. So a little bit more attention to detail with that position of the CG. How much a difference that makes, you know, I think it's going to be hard to sort of see that through testing. Hits are an absolute bullet. Clearly this is all really aimed for that golfer who is just wanting forgiveness and just power in terms of distance. And you know, we're not stupid, are we? It's a 7 iron. It's basically a 5 iron with a 7 stamped on it, isn't it? It's a 27-degree lofted golf club. But I think, why have Callaway done that? I don't know. We all get it now. There's enough information out on YouTube about the lofts. It gets a little bit daft, doesn't it? I think when you get to 27 degrees, it's ridiculous. But I think, you know, the guy who wants to buy that, clearly in my eyes, only one reason he would want to buy a club like that. It's basically hit it further, but his 5 iron would do that. The length of it's like a 5 iron, so effectively it is a 5 inch. It's got a 7 stamped on it. So the only thing I can think of why he would purchase a club like this would be to say to his mates or his playing partners, I hit a 7 iron there and he hit a 6 iron. That's it. That's the only reason I can see, or for somebody to buy a set like this is, you know, to do that. I can't see another reason around it. Again, that's a bit low in the face, but it's up, it's out. It's not going to stop. It's carrying all the way there. I think any part of the club face I hit this, I think it's just going to carry around that 195 and hit this. It seems to sort of hit that green. So the other thing we're seeing in the club face here, well, you won't actually seen it, but what technology involved is a spin control VFT face. So again, it's about creating a consistent spin number across various probably strikes on the club face. Again, we'll have a look at spin numbers and maybe see how consistent these are sort of coming out. There's a lot of acoustic work done in this iron with how it sort of sounds as it comes off that club face, and to be fair, the positive sound that comes off, it's nice. You know, it's a nice positive crack. It's not that ultra muted forged iron feel. It is a forged construction here, but it's not that forged feel that I would associate with a player's club. Like, for instance, my Wilson Staff irons, this doesn't feel like it. It feels a little bit more clickier off the club face than a traditional forged blade club or small cavity club. So that's a little bit low necky. If that carries, then it's just gone the same distance. We could hit it anywhere on that club face, that just seems to go. So I get it, that for a certain golfer, maybe that high handicapper, clearly budget isn't an issue and is wanting to hit their iron past their mate's iron, and they can hit it anywhere on that club face and it seems to do the same sort of job. I get it, you know, I can see the appeal for it. See, again, that's not quite middled, and there you go, they nearly hole it. You know, it's a great set of irons, these. So, you know, it's one of those. I think it's going to be clearly a very niche market, this. In terms of the shafts, they're offering 2 real sort of shafts as stock, fibre, or steel fibre should I say. So these are coming in very sort of lightweight. So I think there's a 70 and 80 and 90 gram there, depending which flex you work into. I've got the steel fibre in a stiff here, and then they do a tensai graphite, which is like 50 and 6 grams, so ultra light. So again, for that real slow swing speed, gaining distance, want to gain some club head speed, wants to get that ball out there, wants the ultimate forgiveness, likes a bit of a premium product. It's ticking all the boxes for them, isn't it? Okay, let's get one more shot here and then we'll go and look at some numbers. Yeah, just feels incredibly easy to hit. Seems pretty consistent. Sometimes you get these stronger loft, you get some I would call like freaky shots, some that just go like 10 yards further. They seem pretty consistent in the way they're landing for such a powerful club. They seem to be landing in a similar area. Give a look at some numbers in a little bit more detail. Just before I do that, I'm just going to hit a couple of shots with my Wilson Staff 5 iron, which is in the same loft, same length as this. Okay, so obviously this is a steel shaft. That was graphite, but same length and same loft. Yeah, very different feeling golf club. That's a proper forged feel in my opinion. That's how a golf club should sort of feel. Look, I nearly hole it. It's the best one I've hit. Stick with me, Wilsons. I'm not even going to hit another one now. I bet that's a good enough one for me to sort of finish on. That carried around 195, so it's doing the same job there. It's just got a different number stamped on the bottom. Okay, let's go look at those numbers in a little bit more detail. Okay, so Epic Forged Iron. We're going to look at the ball speed. So 131.9. Now, for a 7 iron, I'm typically around that sort of 122, 123. If I can get it 125 on some more stronger lofted, that's good. 132 is ridiculous, but we know it's more like a 5-iron. Launching at 14 degrees, so it's launching low, like a 5-iron typically would do. So you can see my iron, 5-iron's launching 13.2. Spin number 4791, so again in relation to a 7-iron, that's incredibly low, but if you relate it to a 5-iron, it's a pretty decent spin number, isn't it? Mine was spinning at 5.2. So peaking out 32 yards, very similar to my 5-iron, and 196 carry against 195 on mine. But what was going interesting, I hit quite a variance of strikes then, some quite low in the face, which we know would give up a little bit of ball speed. It hasn't done. So the ball speed consistency between all those strikes, and I've moved that around the face a little bit, is pretty impressive. And obviously that helps with a front to back sort of dispersion. So, you know, it's like, well, that's pretty consistent. It's a big box tick for that type of iron, that real ultimate game improvement iron. To get consistency is sometimes difficult in that iron, and that seems to be sort of doing that quite nice, which is a big positive. Right guys, so there we go. There's the Epic Forged Iron from Callaway. So clearly it's in that niche market as I mentioned earlier, ultra premium materials used, and it's just a rocket launcher, isn't it? You know, it's just for the guys, as I said before, it's just for those guys who want to say, well, I hit a 7-iron. Oh yeah, you only hit a 6-iron. You know, it's definitely for those guys who would say, well, I hit a 7-iron, you've had to hit a 6-iron there. You know, it's a bit of a bragging rights, isn't it? It's covering the... It's a 7-iron on a 5-iron, isn't it? 5-iron length, 5-iron loft, 7-iron stamped on the bottom. Can't get away from it. I'd love to know your thoughts as always. I'm sure you're going to be commenting on this video. This is obviously going to ruffle a few feathers, I would guess. So, you know, fire your comments down below. Let me know your thoughts. Epic Forged Iron. Is that something that would appeal to you? That's what I'm sort of interested in. I know there'll be a lot of haters out there because of the lofts and what it's trying to do. And I don't think they really sort of try and pull the wool over your eyes as such, because they're very open on the website of the lofts. And you know, we're not daft nowadays with the content that's out there on YouTube and other streams, that lofts are getting stronger, aren't they? You know, it's a bid to hit that ball further. That's sometimes what sells golf clubs. So, but yeah, comment down below, let me hear your thoughts as always. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that thumbs up button, more importantly. Also hit the subscribe button, follow me on social media platforms, both Instagram and Twitter, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.